Hello everyone. Welcome to the solution of LeetCode problem 280 named Wiggle Sort. In this problem, we are given an unsorted array nums and we have to reorder it in place such that the second element is greater than is equal to the first element. The third element is less than is equal to the second element. The fourth element is greater than is equal to the third element and so on. That means the pattern is something like this. Suppose it is first element 1, it is second element 6, it is third element 3, it is fourth element 4, and so on. That means there will be a ups and downs pattern. Now, these problems, the array is given in unsorted order. But let's see, what if the array is given in sorted order? Suppose the array element is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, suppose this array is in the sorted order. Now, if we want to reorder the array according to these given conditions, how can we do it? Suppose we will mark one pointer here in the first position and we will mark another pointer here in the last position. Suppose if we take the first position, the first pointer value here, which is 1. After that, if we take the last pointer value, which is 6, after that, we will move the first pointer here and we will move the last pointer here. Now, we will take the first pointer value, which is 2. We will take the last pointer value, which is 5. Now, we will move the first pointer here and the last pointer here. Now, the first pointer value will be 3 and the last pointer value is 4. So here we have seen that the second value is greater than is equal to the first value. The third value is less than is equal to the second value. The fourth value is greater than is equal to the third value. The fifth value is less than is equal to the fourth value. And the sixth value is greater than is equal to the fifth value, and so on. So here we can see that if the array is in the sorted order, that means we can solve this problem by using two pointers approach. But as the problem in the array are given in unsorted order, so if we first make the array sorted and perform this algorithm, the overall time complexity will be big O of n log n. Anyways, this solution will get also accepted, but let us try to understand how can we optimize this solution, or is there any better linear time solution? So now let us try to understand whether we can find any of the big O of n complexity solution or not. So suppose to understand the optimal solution, let's try to take the first example here. The first example is 3, 5, 2, 1, 6, and 4. Now, let us store the index number. The index number starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, now we want to make this array in reorder such that this condition will be hold. Now, first try to understand these pairs. So here we have seen that the second element 5 is already greater than is equal to the first element. So this pair, the condition is satisfied. Now let us try to understand this pair. Here the third value 2, which is less than is equal to the second value 5. So we can say that this is, in this pair, the condition is satisfied. Now Let us try to consider this pair. Here 1 is less than is equal to 2. But according to the condition, this element 1 should be greater than the previous element, which is 2. Now here, how can we solve this problem? Now, if we swap these two elements, the array will become 1 and 2. Now wait, as we have swapped this element 1 comes into this place 2. Now we have to check whether this element 1 break down any of the pattern or not. So now for this element 5, the next element should be less than or is equal to 5. Now before the element was 2, which is definitely less than 5. Now after swapping 1 and 2, the element which comes in the place of 2 is 1. So here 1 is definitely greater less than 2. So here 1 should be definitely less than 5. So here if we swap the element 1 and 2, it will not break the pattern here. Now let's try to consider these two values, which is 2 and 6. So here we can see that 6 is greater than 2. But according to the definition, 6 should be less than 2. Because till now, the array becomes 3, 5, 1, 2. And if this element is 6, so as 2 is greater than 1, so 6 should be less than 2. But 6 is greater than 2. Now, let's see, how can we solve this? Now, again, if we swap the element 2 and 6, the array will become 6, 2. 3, 5, 1 will remain as it is. Now we have to check whether this value 6 break down any of the pattern previously. Now here, the value 6 is placed in the place of 2. So here, 2 is definitely greater than 1. So here, 6 is greater than 2. So we can say that 6 will be definitely greater than 1 once more. So if we place the element 6 in the place of 2, it will not break the pattern. Now our last element is 4. So we have to check this pair, but fortunately this pair holds the condition because 4 is greater than is equal to 2 and 2 is less than is equal to 6. Now we have come to one solution. Here, try to figure out some of the pattern. Now the pattern will be if our current index number is odd, that means those element must be greater than or equal to the previous element. If those element is less than previous element, that means we have to perform the swapping operation. Similarly, if our current index is even, in this case, the corresponding element must be greater than the previous element. And if the corresponding element is less than previous element, that means we have to perform the swapping operation. Okay, I mistakenly made a mistake. So here, if the corresponding index is odd, that means suppose this element 3. So here the corresponding element should be less than or is equal to the previous element. But if the corresponding element somehow greater than the previous element, that means we have to make a swap operation. Similarly, for the even index, the corresponding element must be greater than the previous element. And if this condition is breakdown, that means we have to again perform a swapping operations. And after performing the swapping operations, we can sort the array in the corresponding pattern, which is kind of ups and downs. Now, I hope you understood the algorithm. Now let's move on to the code. In this problem, the code is pretty simple. At first, we are given a function named WiggleSort, and input is string or input array as a parameter. Now we have to run a loop from second index to the last element of the array, and we have to check whether the corresponding index is odd or not. So here, if the corresponding index is odd and the corresponding element is less than the previous element, we have to make a swapping operations. Otherwise, if the corresponding index number is even and the corresponding element is greater than the previous element, that means in this case, we have to again perform a swap operations. And after performing the swap operations, the array will be reordered. I hope you understood the code. Thank you everyone for watching this video. We will get back soon with another LeetCode solution.